Insane reveal at midnight. Don't sign this. Billionaire shocked by a maid's secret. In the heart of the sprawling McAllister mansion, a storm was brewing. The air crackled with tension as shadows danced across the opulent decor. Tonight, secrets long buried would claw their way to the surface. It was just past midnight when the chandelier flickered, casting ghostly reflections on the walls. The room felt alive with whispers and conspiracies. In the dim glow, a figure slipped quietly down the grand staircase. Amelia, the unassuming maid. But beneath her crisp uniform and polite smile lay a bombshell of a secret that could shatter the billionaire's empire. Once, she had stumbled upon a locked drawer in the study, hidden away like a crime scene. Curiosity pulling her closer, she had pried it open to reveal documents that would bring even the most seasoned investors to their knees. Contracts that reeked of deceit. Lists of names and ominous amounts of money exchanged like candy, enough to invoke nightmares. How could Mr. McAllister, a tabloid darling known for his charitable exploits, be tangled in such murky waters? Each piece of paper felt like a dagger to her heart. The truth was a bitter pill to swallow. Amelia stood there, shivering, the weight of her discovery pressed down on her chest like a vice. Questions shot through her mind like bullets. Who could she trust? What did this mean for her? The scratching of nails against the wooden floor echoed through the silence, only accentuating the isolation gripping her heart, the sound mixing with a distant thunder, each boom feeling like a countdown to an inevitable collapse. The air seemed to thicken, and she could almost hear the house holding its breath, waiting for her next move. But as she hesitated, dread pooling within her, footfalls approached. The moonlight caught a glimpse of Mr. McAllister's silhouette, tall and imposing, his shadow looming like a dark cloud. What if he found out? What would he do to silence her? The very thought made her stomach twist into knots and her hands tremble. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Tension crackled like electricity as she prepared to confront him. Would the truth set her free or seal her fate? Her eyes widened as she recalled a crimson signature over the most damning contract. He couldn't go on like this, could he? But if she didn't do something soon, the weight of what she knew would crush her. What if this was the point of no return? The seconds ticked by, and the storm outside roared louder, mirroring the chaos in her mind. With the documents clutched tightly in her hand, she took a deep breath, ready to step into the dark abyss that could either promise freedom or bound her forever to the shadows of McAllister's world. What secrets lay in wait, eager to be uncovered? The moment hung in the air, thick as the storm outside. Amelia's heart raced wildly in her chest, each beat echoing painfully in her ears. The footsteps grew louder. She could feel Mr. McAllister's presence looming like a specter, ready to engulf her. She steadied herself, knowing she couldn't retreat now. There was no going back from this threshold. Amelia? His voice sliced through the silence. Deep, commanding. She could picture the sharp edge of his jaw, the way his brow furrowed in concentration. What are you doing up this late? She swallowed hard, fighting the lump in her throat. I need to speak with you. It's important. Her own voice surprised her, wavering, but still imbued with a steely determination that he stepped into the waning light, his expression shifting from curiosity to wariness. Important? At this hour? What could possibly be so urgent? The tension curled around them, thick and electric. She lifted the documents, shaking slightly as the weight of her choice crashed over her. It's about the contracts in your study. I found something you don't want getting out. A flicker of recognition crossed his face, quickly replaced by a cool mask of indifference. Contracts? My business affairs are not your concern, Amelia. Know your place. Her heart sank, the dismissal stung. But the thought of the documents made her shoulders straighten. But it is my concern now. I know everything about the money laundering, the names involved. You're in deep trouble, Mr. McAllister. His eyes narrowed, a predator sizing up its prey. You don't know what you're talking about. The words hung between them, heavy with unspoken threats. But she pressed on, driven by a mix of fear and the stubbornness that had always fueled her spirit. I do. I know what you're doing. You can't keep living this lie. For a split second, his bravado cracked, revealing a glimpse of panic beneath the surface. But then he recovered, sleek confidence returning like a cloak. Why should I believe you? A mere maid with wild accusations? Because, she spat, a spark igniting her courage, I'm the only one who knows. I could report you, or I could help. His eyes flicked down to the documents, calculating, assessing. Help? And what would a maid like you possibly gain from this? Protection. Safety, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper but carrying the weight of her fear. You're powerful, Mr. McAllister, but even the mightiest can fall. He chuckled darkly. The sound sent chills racing down her spine. You're playing a dangerous game, Amelia. Do you really think you can blackmail me? Do you even know what I'm capable of? A storm rumbled outside, the shadows of the mansion flickering. She felt cold sweat trickle down her back. But amidst the rising fear, a seed of desperation blossomed. I'm not trying to blackmail you. I'm trying to save you, and maybe save myself in the process. We could strike a deal. He took a step closer, piercing gaze pinning her. A deal? What do you propose? How about we cover this up together? You keep your empire, and I'll keep my silence. Just like that, we can walk away from this together. Her voice trembled, a blend of hope and dread weaving through her words. The air vibrated with unsteady electricity, both of them holding their breath as the storm unleashed its fury. Then his lips curled into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Interesting proposal, Amelia. But what if I say no? What could stop me from exposing you instead? She felt the heat pool in her cheeks, vulnerability washing over her like ice. Then you risk it all, too. His smile faltered and turned dangerous. You really think you're in a position to play with fire? As the thunder roared, Amelia felt the weight of a storm within this room's social class, deceit, betrayal, every echo threatening to unravel the very fabric of her life. She wondered if she had just made a grave mistake. But before she could respond, a loud crash of thunder rattled the windows, and a flicker of electricity plunged the room into darkness. Panic erupted in her gut. The power was out, leaving them in. A chilling silence punctuated by the rumble of the storm. What now? Would they break into a confrontation? Amelia, his voice was low, but she could hear the thrill of challenge. Let us see how far you're willing to go when the lights are out. The darkness enveloped them, but within it, everything felt amplified. What would be their next move? Would darkness become their ally or their undoing? The silence pressed in around Amelia, thick and smothering. She felt the darkness consume the space, her pulse quickening with fear and anticipation. The storm raged outside as if in sync with the tempest that roiled within her. Amelia, McAllister's voice was a whisper now, dangerous and inviting. She strained to see him, her eyes scanning the abyss of shadows, searching for any hint of his form. Are you afraid of the dark? Fear isn't what's guiding me, she replied, steadying her voice. It's survival. His laughter sliced through the pitch blackness, lingering in the air like smoke. Survival? You truly believe you hold power in this game? No games, Mr. McAllister. Just truth. Amelia's heart thudded harder. I have the documents. I know your secrets. Secrets, indeed. She could hear him move, the brush of fabric against fabric as he stepped closer. Power lies not in the secrets themselves, but in what you choose to do with them. Suddenly, a flash of lightning illuminated the room. For a split second, she saw him, the sharp contours of his face, the challenge in his eyes. It was a brief moment, but it ignited her resolve. That's not what I want, and you know it, she exclaimed, her words tumbling out. I don't want your empire or your wealth. I want the chance to breathe, to escape this game you've created. Another crash of thunder drowned out her voice as darkness swallowed the room once more. But she could feel his presence close, impossibly close. Are you sure you've thought this through? He was now a whisper, tantalizing and dangerous. What if, instead of bargaining for safety, you find yourself standing at the cusp of something grand? Grand, or catastrophic? What is more dangerous, Amelia? His voice grew low and sultry, the path of invisibility, hiding in the shadows, or the right to speak, to shout your truths to the world? For a moment, She fought against the pull of his words. Did she want to come out of the darkness? Or was he luring her deeper? Just as she began to open her mouth, the lights flickered back to life, a harsh glare flooding the room. Amelia squinted, adjusting to the sudden brightness. McAllister stood before her, arms crossed, a sly grin creeping across his face. Looks like you've pulled me into the light. Now what? She took a shaky breath, her resolve nearly cracking. No deal, no alliance. I'll forget this conversation and take my chances. His eyes flickered, the grin wiping away into contemplation. And what if I tell you that your safety is at stake? What if I can make that nightmare disappear? A chilling dread settled in her stomach as she weighed his words. What do you mean? She demanded. Maybe you should take a closer look at those contracts, Amelia. The ones you think give you leverage. Each syllable dripped with an unsettling knowing. The air thickened again, swirling with tension, doubt, and fear. She could feel the ground shift beneath her as he stepped forward, invading her space, almost daring her to believe him. You don't know everything, but you soon will. Don't play with me, McAllister, she snapped, her voice cracking under the weight of her emotions. You can't intimidate me like that. Not anymore. He tilted his head, amusement dancing in his features. Oh, but I think you're already intimidated. You just don't know it yet. A flicker of doubt threaded through her mind. Had she overlooked something crucial? Was McAllister not just a cornered man, but a chess master playing his pieces at once? Look around, he instructed, gesturing grandly. In this house, in this life, every shadow hides a truth. And sometimes, silence is the loudest sound of all. What happens next depends entirely on your next move. As the weight of his words crashed down on her, the storm outside raged on, thunder echoing like her own heartbeat. She felt the chilling realization that this might just be a game far more dangerous than she had anticipated. Could she really trust this man? Would she dare to dig deeper? What do you mean? She breathlessly asked, fear creeping back in, though a spark of determination ignited her spirit. Let us find the next page in this tale, shall we? He offered, delight glimmering in his gaze. But Amelia had no idea of the depths of darkness that lay ahead, ready to ensnare her very soul. What was it he wasn't saying? What had she entered into, and what truths were concealed just out of reach? The room pulsed with an unsettling energy, a stark contrast to the storm raging outside. The flickering lights cast long shadows, stretching across the walls like fingers clawing their way into the corners. Amelia could feel every nerve ending in her body alert, on high alert, and her mind raced. What truths, McAllister? What are you hiding? She demanded, her bravado serving as armor against the escalating tension. He simply smiled, that infuriating smile that danced on the edge of mockery. Patience, Amelia. You are chained to your own assumptions. What if the key to your safety is hidden in a truth you've yet to uncover? His eyes bored into her, daring her to unravel the layers of deceit that had cloaked her reality. Amelia's heart thundered in response, each beat a reminder of the stakes. I'm done with games, she shot back, her voice firm despite the dread whispering at the back of her mind. He took another step, the distance closing. She could see the small scars on his hands, the remnants of a life spent wrestling with untold challenges, hard truths buried under a veneer of wealth and power. You may feel that way now, but when faced with what's lurking behind those documents, you may reconsider. Stop, she interrupted, fighting the tidal wave of fear that threatened to swallow her whole. She focused on his words, trying to grasp the meaning that dangled just out of reach. What do you know? What's at stake? Time, he replied smoothly. Your time is running short, Amelia. You're being watched. They know your every move. A chill ripped through her. She remembered the shadows that had flickered by her window, the voice that had whispered behind her during misplaced moments of solitude. Suddenly, the walls felt like they were closing in. Who is watching me? You need to decide how to play this. Allow yourself to be guided by fear, and you'll miss the truth. His words slid through the air like blades, and she could feel their sharpness against her skin. She clenched her fists. You're saying they're a threat, but you are too. This house is your domain, and I'm lost in it. The corners of his mouth twitched upward, but his gaze remained serious. Perhaps, but it's simply a price of exposure. You can take the risk or thrive within it. Thunder rumbled outside, shaking the foundations as if to punctuate his ominous statement. What do you want from me? She asked, her voice a mix of defiance and confusion. Retribution, he replied, the word hanging heavy in the air. For the secrets I've kept and the ones collected in earnest. The game can end, or you can choose to play further. The chance to not just breathe, but to thrive, lies in understanding what you possess. Amelia's pulse raced at the implication. You want me to dig up your past, don't you? Not just mine, but the darkness surrounding it. Your strength will rise only when you shine a light on the very truth that binds you. His words resonated within her, intertwining with her own fearless spirit. But there was no mistaking the shadows lining his intentions. Every nerve screamed for clarity, yet clarity eluded her like a mirage, shimmering just out of grasp. Why should I trust you? She said, quivering as she took a tentative step back. Trust is a loaded weapon, dear Amelia. It can disarm or destroy. Choose wisely, he said, each word a calculated step on a winding path. The power of it gripped her, leaving her breathless. What happens if I do? As he leaned in closer, an alarm rang through her consciousness, a sound she couldn't ignore, echoing in rhythm with her thoughts of escape. Then you'll understand the labyrinth, he whispered, the weight of his voice heavy with secrets. Amelia shivered as his lips curled into another sly smile. The stakes felt insurmountable. With every second spent with McAllister, the lines between ally and enemy blurred further, and a singular question returned. Clawing at her insides, could she emerge unscathed? Or would this game consume her entirely? She felt a rush of resolve. I have to know, she breathed, and the thunder outside responded with a growl. Let us turn the pages, Amelia. The real story starts now. And as he gestured for her to follow, a new dread settled within her. What awaited in that deeper darkness? What truths might she unearth, and at what cost? The dim hallway stretched before them, a winding path lined with framed portraits that seemed to watch her every move. Shadows danced along the walls, fueled by the flickering lights overhead. Amelia's heart raced wildly, each pulse echoing in her ears like a drum signaling an approaching storm. Where are we going? She felt the weight of her words hang in the air, thick with tension and anticipation. McAllister was leading her, and she had no choice but to follow. To the truth, he replied, his tone cryptic, laced with something she couldn't identify. Was it excitement, or was it foreboding? It's time you understood the past that shapes our present. As they reached a door at the end of the corridor, McAllister paused and turned to her, that annoyingly enigmatic smile on his lips. Brace yourself, Amelia. There are revelations that could shatter your perceptions. With a suddenness that took her breath away, he swung the door open. The inside was a stark contrast to the dimness of the hall, flooded with a harsh, sterile light. It felt like stepping from one world into another. An elaborate room unfolded before her eyes, its shelves lined with leather-bound books and ornate artifacts. The air carried a thick scent of aged paper and something faintly metallic. In the center stood a grand mahogany table draped with scattered documents, photographs, and odd trinkets. But her gaze was immediately drawn to a single item, a dusty old box with intricate carvings etched into its surface. What is this? She whispered, stepping closer. A conduit to history, he replied, his voice turning hushed. Inside lies the truth about those who came before you, and the decisions that left us at this precipice. The box beckoned her, its presence both alluring and foreboding. She reached out, hesitating for only a moment before her fingers brushed against the cool wood. An electric spark shot through her hand, up her arm, igniting a fire of dread within her. You must understand, McAllister said, his tone turning grave. The power of what is contained here is immense. It could save you or shatter everything you thought you knew. Amelia's heart thudded louder, drowning out her thoughts. What lay in that box? What secrets had been deemed too dangerous for the light of day? Her fingers trembled as she grasped the lid, and with a decisive motion, she pulled it open. Inside, letters woven with age and betrayal greeted her, yellowed and fraying at the edges. But it was the photograph that made her breath hitch. It showed a younger McAllister beside a woman. She recognized a woman with striking features and an intensity that matched his own. Who is she? She breathed, her fear mingling with a rush of curiosity. That, he replied, leaning closer, is someone whose absence has carved the path of our existence. Her name is Evelyn. and I was blind to the darkness that shrouded her. Monsters? She dared to ask, her pulse quickening. Was she a monster? She was a reflection of this house, my family's legacy. Secrets and lies run deep, Amelia. You have to understand these truths will come at a cost. Suddenly, the power flickered, casting the room into momentary darkness. A thundering boom echoed through the walls, and when the lights returned, she saw something terrifying reflected in his eyes of frantic urgency, tinged with fear. "They're coming," he murmured, the slip of confidence gone. "You need to decide, are you ready to uncover these truths, even if it unravels everything?" The air hummed with the weight of impending danger, a sense that their moment was slipping through their fingers. He stepped back, preparing to face whatever lurked beyond that door, but she felt an undeniable pull towards the box. What lay within? Power? Danger? Or something far worse? "Amelia," he called, urgency in his voice, snapping her back to focus. "We need to move. Now." The storm outside raged louder, merging with the thundering chaos in her heart. The choice hung before her: would she delve deeper into the darkness, or turn away and escape the whirlwind of secrets taunting her from the shadows? The only certainty she felt was that whatever lay ahead, she could never go back to the way things were. As they rushed for the door, a chilling thought crept into her mind. What if the truth revealed a darkness they could never outrun? "Hold on tight," McAllister murmured, and with that, they bolted into uncertainty, leaving the truth behind. But Amelia could already feel its clawing tendrils reaching for her heart, ready to pull her into an abyss. What awaited them outside those walls? The door slammed shut behind them with a resounding thud, reverberating through the air as they raced down a narrow staircase hidden beneath a plush carpet. Their footsteps echoed against the stone walls, each step a countdown to uncertainty. Amelia could feel her heart pounding like a war drum, its rhythm a relentless reminder that they were being pursued. "Why are we hiding?" she gasped, glancing back at McAllister. His face was pale, the confidence he had moments ago now replaced with urgency. "Because the truths we uncovered have roused something dark," he said, his voice sharp as a knife. "And it won't rest until it has what it desires." Amelia's mind was a whirlwind of questions, fueled by adrenaline and fear. What had they unleashed? Who were they being hunted by? The atmosphere felt electric, charged with an impending dread that wrapped around her like a vice. As they reached the end of the stairs, McAllister motioned for her to silence. They stood in a dimly lit cellar, shadows creeping along the walls like waiting predators. The air was colder here, a stark contrast to the oppressive warmth of the house above. "Listen," he whispered, his finger pressed to his lips. Amelia strained her ears and heard the distinct sound of footsteps, heavy and deliberate, approaching the entrance above. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't just any threat. It felt more personal, more relentless. "What do we do now?" she managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. McAllister's gaze darted around the room before settling on an old oak chest in the corner. "We need to get out of here. We might have a chance if we can access the tunnel," he said, rushing towards it. He knelt down, his fingers working the rusted latch with a frantic urgency. Amelia flinched at the slamming footsteps overhead, each thud a reminder of how close danger lurked. "What's in there?" she asked, glancing at the chest. "Supplies, maps, anything that might help us. My family has hidden truths in this house for centuries, and this chest could be the key to survival." He pried the chest open with one last effort, the creaking wood revealing an array of items. Maps lay atop a collection of dusty journals, alongside tools that looked like they belonged in a different era. But what caught Amelia's eye was something metallic, glinting in the half-light. "What's that?" She pointed. As McAllister pulled it out, she felt a jolt of recognition. It was a key, old and ornate, its surface adorned with the same carvings as the box they had left behind. This is the key to Evelyn's legacy." His voice shook, a mix of hope and fear. "If we can find the door it opens, we might uncover secrets that could protect us, or doom us." Suddenly, the footsteps grew louder, echoing in a chilling cadence. They were close, way too close. McAllister shoved the key into his pocket and grabbed her hand. "We need to move." They dashed deeper into the cellar, McAllister leading the way to a hidden door at the far end. He paused, glancing back as the sound of heavy footsteps echoed closer. A bead of cold sweat slid down Amelia's back, and she gripped his hand tighter. "Whatever happens, do not let go," he ordered, his eyes fierce. As they reached the door, McAllister pushed against it, but it refused to budge. "Come on," he urged, panic creeping into his voice. Maybe the key, Amelia started, but he was already fumbling through his pocket. Just as he pulled out the key, the door behind them rattled violently. "Hurry." With shaky hands, he inserted it into the lock. The sound of the footfalls intensified, booming like thunder, matching the frantic rhythm of their hearts. Amelia held her breath, each second dragging on, a lifetime of tension stretching across the room. Would they escape? Or would the shadows of Evelyn's past catch up to them? The key turned, the door creaked open, and a blinding light spilled into the darkness. "Go," he shouted, and they leaped through into the unknown. But as they crossed the threshold, a blood-curdling scream pierced the air behind them. It was followed by an unnatural silence. The door slammed shut, leaving them in a world that felt both like salvation and the brink of horrors unknown. "What just happened?" she breathed, her heart racing. "We have to find out what happened behind us and what we just walked into," McAllister said, staring into the blinding light now enveloping them. Amelia's heart sank. In every turn, darkness awaited. What awaited them in this new reality? Would the truth set them free, or tighten the chains of the past even more? The light enveloped them like a shroud, dimming the world they had just fled from into nothingness. It was blinding, yet suffocating, making it hard for Amelia to breathe. She stumbled, grasping at the air as if it could provide some kind of anchor. McAllister steadied her with a firm hand on her shoulder, pulling her deeper into the luminous void. "Stay close," he whispered, but the sound seemed swallowed by the brightness around them. As their eyes adjusted, the light faded into a soft glow, revealing a vast cavern adorned with crystalline formations that sparkled like starlight. Each breath they took was filled with an inexplicable energy, electric and alive. Amelia felt a strange sensation crawling up her spine. Was it fear or awe? "Is this part of the house?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper amidst the echoing silence. "Not just the house." McAllister's eyes scanned the chamber, filled with both wonder and caution. "This is an extension of the legacy, a place hidden away for generations. It holds the very truths we were searching for." A sudden rustle in the shadows made both of them freeze. They shared a look of alarm as a figure emerged, stepping gracefully into the light. A woman, ethereal and otherworldly, appeared. Her dark hair flowed like liquid silk, her eyes glimmering with a knowing depth. "Welcome, seekers of truth," she said, her voice smooth yet haunting. "Who are you?" Amelia stammered, stepping slightly behind McAllister. A chill raced through her as the woman approached. "I am Evelyn's guardian," she proclaimed, an air of authority in her tone. "You have entered the domain of secrets. Only those pure of heart may pass, without consequence." "Consequences?" McAllister echoed, but doubt slipped into his voice. "We just want to understand. Understanding comes at a price." The woman's gaze locked onto Amelia, an intensity that made her shudder. "You carry shadows with you, shadows that wish to be unleashed." "What shadows?" Amelia felt herself recoil, as if those very shadows were reaching out to her. Before the woman could answer, a menacing roar echoed from deep within the cavern, shaking the walls. Amelia's heart raced as the sound morphed into something horrifying, a guttural growl that vibrated through her bones. She clutched McAllister's arm tighter, her nails digging in. "It's here," McAllister muttered, fear twisting his features. "We have to find a way out." "Not yet," the guardian said, her voice unyielding. "You must choose. Unveil your past or face what dwells within." Amelia exchanged desperate glances with McAllister. Behind the guardian, shadows twisted and writhed, revealing a glimpse of dark shapes lurking just out of sight. "What do you mean, unveil?" McAllister pressed. "How?" "Only by confronting your deepest fears can the truth be revealed." The guardian's eyes flickered like candle flames, urging them to decide. As they faced the darkness together, Amelia felt the weight of countless memories crushing her spirit. Muffled voices, unshed tears, echoes of laughter and sorrow loomed in her mind like a storm. What if the truth was more than they could bear? Suddenly, a chilling wind swept through the cavern, carrying whispers that seemed to beckon Amelia closer, deeper into the shadows. "Do you trust me?" McAllister asked, his grip on her arm sturdy yet trembling. Heart pounding, she hesitated. Could they risk stepping into the unknown, facing whatever it was that lay ahead? I don't know, she confessed, doubt knotting in her stomach. Before she could voice her thoughts, the ground trembled violently, and a brilliant flash emitted from the shadows. It felt as if the cavern itself was alive, readying for a confrontation that couldn't be postponed any longer. "Make your choice." The Guardian's voice rang out above the cacophony. The cavern vibrated with tension, and Amelia stood on the precipice of revelation, caught between fear and an insatiable thirst for truth. What choice would they make, and would it lead them into salvation or destruction? The shadows were closing in, and time was running out. As silence enveloped them once more. Everything hung on her next move. Would they delve deeper into the mystery, or would the terrifying shadows consume them whole? The air buzzed with anticipation as the shadowy shapes danced at the edges of their vision, hungry for the moment Amelia would choose. Time stretched and warped, each heartbeat echoing like thunder in the cavernous vastness. McAllister's eyes darted around, alert to every flicker of movement, his face a mask of despair and determination. "Do we trust her?" he whispered urgently, taking a half-step toward Amelia, his body tense. "What if this is a trap?" But Amelia felt a pull she couldn't explain, a connection to the Guardian, to the place itself. I think she knows something," she murmured, trying to pierce through her rising panic. "Or she wants to use us." McAllister's words were harsh, punctuated with fear. "We can't bow to darkness just because it's looming." The Guardian's expression shifted, an amused smile gracing her lips. "Yours is but a temporary doubt, born of fear. The shadows will only consume your wits further. Choose, Amelia. They will not wait forever." From the depths of the cavern, another growl rumbled, deeper and more menacing than before, vibrating through their very bones. The crystals around them resonated, casting eerie patterns of light and shadow across the cavern walls. Amelia felt a tremor of terror mixed with exhilaration. "Whatever that is, it knows us. It wants us." McAllister's voice dropped, carrying an urgent undertone. "And we need to act before it's too late." Pressing her palms together, the decision wrestled within Amelia. The shadows beckoned, but the Guardian's presence was a beacon in the storm. "What if this isn't just about the past?" she asked, her voice almost lost in the oppressive air. "What if it's about something more? Like what? A future you can't escape?" McAllister's eyes blazed with frustration. Sometimes facing the past means running from what's ahead. As the growling intensified, shadows surged forward, blossoming into a whirlwind. It felt as if the void itself were breathing, the boundaries of reality blurring. An icy dread coated Amelia's skin, gripping her tightly. What if confronting those shadows could free us? What if a powerful gale cut through the cavern, whipping her hair around her face, a force as unwelcome as it was intoxicating? She felt the Guardian's gaze pierce through her uncertainty, urging her to make the leap. "Seal your pact with the truth, and those shadows cannot touch you," the Guardian intoned, her voice weaving through the chaos. Amelia took a shuddering breath. What if I can't handle it? The very thought made her heart race. Only in facing your greatest dread will you find your power, the Guardian replied, unwavering. You must be brave enough to remember. To confront those shadows is to reclaim your light. The ground beneath them shook again, causing both of them to stagger. The fear surged like a tide, and Amelia felt the thrill of danger spark within her. She turned slowly to McAllister, searching for something in his eyes, a flicker of shared resolve. "Together?" she asked, voice trembling, grasping for courage. "Together," he affirmed, leveling his gaze at her, emotions churning behind his protective layers. With their pact spoken, a curtain of shadows lashed out in a fury. Amelia steeled herself, feeling the shadow's cold breath against her skin, curling around her in a vice. "Now," the Guardian commanded, voice rising above the tempest. "Face your past." Amelia stepped forward, driven by a mix of terror and hope. The air thickened, charged with electric energy as the shadows surged closer. They crawled toward her, revealing fragments of her life, moments lost to time, faces once familiar but now warped with pain. A child's laughter echoed, a soft, haunting melody that tugged at her heart. Suddenly, a harsh laughter erupted from the depths, mocking and sinister. "Do you think you can resist me, little Amelia? You belong to the darkness." Her breath caught in her throat, but in that moment, something flickered within her, a spark of defiance. "No, I won't be a prisoner anymore," she shouted, intensifying her gaze on the darkness. "I choose to remember. I choose to fight." As she shouted, the shadows recoiled as if struck. McAllister lunged forward, taking her hand, merging their wills. Suddenly, they were enveloped in the brightness of newfound strength. But just as hope surged, a deafening crash broke through the air, and the cavern quaked violently. The ground threatened to swallow them whole, and a figure began to materialize amid the chaos, a monstrous silhouette that broke through the shadows, its intentions clearer and far more terrifying than anything they had faced before. "What if this is only the beginning?" McAllister whispered, both excitement and terror swirling in his voice. What waited in the darkness not only sought to bury their fears, but perhaps to unleash something far worse than they had ever imagined. The monstrous figure loomed larger, its form twisting and reshaping with a grotesque fluidity as it emerged from the blackness. McAllister gripped Amelia's hand tighter, his heart racing. The air crackled around them, electricity suffusing with dread. "You think your courage can stand against what I am?" The voice slithered around them, dark and rich with malice. It had an echo of familiarity that made Amelia's skin prickle with fear. The shadows writhed, eager and eager to consume. She found her voice, trembling but fierce. "We're not afraid of you." "Ah, but fear is not the only weapon in my arsenal," the creature hissed, its elongated limbs stretching and retracting like a predatory spider. "I was born of your shadows, woven from your doubts and regrets. You cannot fight me. You cannot even remember me." Suddenly, the cavern pulsed, and the walls shimmered, revealing a kaleidoscope of memories. Faces twisted in anguish flickered before Amelia, her childhood home, her parents arguing, betrayal from friends long forgotten. Each image struck her like a dagger, pricking at old wounds she thought had healed. "Stop it!" she yelled, but the figure clutched at her past with a delight that turned her stomach. "You can't control me." With every memory conjured, McAllister felt her grip loosening. "Stay focused, Amelia. Focus on what we agreed on us." The shadows thickened, drawing closer. Amelia's breath quickened as the laughter entwined her mind, seeping into her thoughts like poison. "Together remember why you chose to fight." McAllister's urging cut through the darkness, his voice a lifeline. The guardian stood anchored in the storm, her eyes bright and commanding. "You are more than your past. Do not allow it to ensnare you. Close your eyes." McAllister shouted suddenly, moving closer to her, his presence a calming force. "Find your light." With shaky breaths, Amelia did just that. She shut her eyes tightly and focused inward. Memories began to fade, with the sharp edges softening into a gentle glow. She thought of the moments that made her happy, laughter shared with friends, quiet evenings under stars, the warmth of love. The darkness lurched violently, as if struck by a shockwave. The laughter turned into a shriek, a cacophony of rage. "You think those fleeting moments can save you? You must face your true self." Amelia felt the oppressive weight begin to lift, a flicker of defiance igniting within her. "This isn't who I am," she shouted back into the abyss. "You're just a part of me, but you don't define me." From the corners of her mind, strength swelled, and she forced the darkness away, channeling every spark of resilience into her voice. "I choose to embrace my past, but I refuse to be controlled by it." In that moment, a blinding light surged from her heart, spilling outwards like a tidal wave. It crashed into the shadows, illuminating every cranny of the cavern. The monstrous silhouette writhed in agony, its form shrinking under the intensity of Amelia's inner fire. "No!" it howled, and in that chaos, a horrifying revelation struck Amelia. "You're more than a shadow," she realized, her heart racing with every pulse of light spreading. "You are all the pain I've ignored." As her understanding crystallized, the creature crumbled into dust, defeated by the brilliance she had ignited within herself. But just as silence danced in the air, a distant rumble echoed through the cavern, a reminder of the chaos lurking just beyond their victory. Amelia turned to McAllister, breathless but resolute. What if getting rid of one shadow only draws more into the light? Before he could reply, a chilling howl echoed around them. A new darkness was awakening, ravenous and relentless. Its approach sent shivers down their spines, promising that the battle was far from over. Amelia McAllister gripped her arm. What else is hiding in the shadows? As the walls trembled, they both instinctively backed away, the weight of their newfound courage weighed down by the sudden surge of fear and uncertainty. The shadows were regrouping, and something worse was coming. What had they truly released? In the heart of the cavern, Amelia's pulse thumped, a steady drum crashing against uncertainty. The shadows shifted, their murmurings growing louder, swirling into a vortex of menacing anticipation. The air felt alive, electric with the weight of what lurked beneath their newfound strength. McAllister stood next to her, his eyes darting cautiously, tension rippling through his frame. "This isn't over," he said, his voice taut. "With one shadow gone, another rises." Amelia's heart pounded in sync with the heavy footfalls echoing from the depths beyond. "What do we do?" she managed, her voice wavering. The air grew colder, closing in around them, mixing with fraying threads of hope. "Right now we move," McAllister barked, urgency slicing through the shadows. He grabbed her hand, strong yet trembling, and together they sprinted deeper into the cavern, each step resonating with the knowledge that darkness was on their heels. The path twisted and turned, splintering into unfamiliar territory. The glow from the crystals illuminated their way, guiding them past jagged rocks and narrow passages. Every echo of their footsteps reverberated like a warning. Amelia could feel the impending dread. Whatever was following them grew closer. Behind them, the howling grew louder. It was a primal noise, something that incited a deep-rooted fear she had never known. "What is that?" Amelia shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. Glancing back just as a silhouette flickered in the shadows, McAllister's grip tightened around her fingers. "Don't look back. Focus on the path." He pulled her around a sharp corner, where a shimmering wall of crystals came into view. "Is there a way through?" Amelia asked, panic rising with every heartbeat. "It's our only option," he replied, determination lacing his words. They approached the wall, and as they did, a pulsating light emanated from the crystals like a heartbeat. It throbbed, alive and primal. Together, they shouted, and they slammed into the crystal wall, a surge of energy coursing through them as they reached for the light. Suddenly, they found themselves transported into a newfound room, a vast expanse of sparkling crystals surrounding them like a sanctuary. The air felt heavy yet invigorating, tinged with magic and possibility. "What just happened?" Amelia gasped, her breath shallow as she looked around, the dread still hanging in the air despite their temporary escape. "I think we entered another section of Evelyn's legacy," he murmured, scanning their surroundings. "But we can't stay here. We need to find a way out before what's hunting us breaks through." As if on cue, the walls quivered, faint echoes of that chilling howl reverberating from behind the crystal barrier. Dread seeped back in. "What kind of darkness is this?" Amelia's voice trembled. "Something that knows fear," he replied, urgency spiraling in his tone. "We cannot let it find us." Before they could react, the cavern trembled underfoot, and the shadows began to churn violently against the crystalline structures. The predator they'd fled roared, and the sound sent a jolt of terror coursing through Amelia. "Look!" McAllister pointed toward a glimmer at the far side of the room. "The exit. We have to get to it." Adrenaline surged through them, propelling Amelia forward. She could hear the anguished screams of the shadows behind them, rushing closer as the cracks began to splinter around the crystals. It was as if the darkness wanted to consume them whole. "We have to jump," McAllister urged, their only option growing clearer as they drew closer to the glowing portal. Its shimmering surface beckoned them. With hearts racing, they leaped through, the threshold feeling like a baptism in pure light. They tumbled through a brief space of blinding brilliance before landing hard on solid ground. Gasping, Amelia looked up to find they were back in the study, a chaotic reunion of her fears and their past. The documents lay scattered across the floor, untouched yet alive with potential. But as she gazed around, a bone-chilling sound pulled her attention. The door creaked ever so slightly, and the shadows pooled ominously at the threshold, ready to invade the sanctity of the room. Amelia shot to her feet, heart racing. This was the moment the final confrontation loomed. "We won't let it win, will we?" she whispered fervently to McAllister, their eyes locking in shared resolve. "No," he replied, strength igniting in his gaze. "This is our story. We decide how it ends." Together they gathered the scattered papers, aligning their courage with the documents that held the weight of truth. It was time to expose every secret both of them held, every shadow lurking just outside the door. The power of their combined truths surged between them as they placed the contracts before the door with a simple but powerful intent. "You don't own our narrative," Amelia declared, gathering the courage that lived deep within her. The shadows writhed in fury outside, racing to possess the room, but Amelia felt the light grow stronger within her. "No," she shouted again, channeling her fear into powerful defiance. "We are stronger than this. Together, as one." They tore down the barriers of their pasts, facing the depths of all they were meant to confront together. The shadows screamed, their essence unraveling at the seams. Lights surged through the cracks, brightening the room as it began to dissolve the darkness, their unified strength sweeping through like a raging storm. With each pulse of light, they took back their power, the shadows receding until they fell back, retreating into a forgotten abyss. And as they slammed the door shut, sealing the darkness away, relief washed over Amelia like a much-needed rain after a drought. She turned to McAllister, breaths mingling in the stillness that followed. "We did it," she breathed, overwhelmed with a sense of victory neither had thought possible. He nodded, a small smile breaking through his usually stoic demeanor. "And we will keep doing it together." They stood amid the scattered remnants of the past, breathing in the new air of possibility. For the first time, Amelia felt the weight slip away. She knew they'd walk out of this mansion not just as survivors, but with stories' new chapters waiting to be written. After all, the shadows may return, but they now knew they held the power to face whatever darkness lay ahead. As she stepped toward the door of the study, McAllister close behind, the world awaited outside. It was time to embrace the future, to turn the page on their unprecedented adventure, the adventure to rewrite their lives, fueled by every ounce of courage and truth they had uncovered. And as they pushed open the door, the sun blazed onto their faces, bathing them in golden light. A chorus of possibilities sang in their hearts, and for once, their destinies were in their hands. It was time to walk forward into the dawn, a dawn that promised renewal, understanding, and unshakable hope. But the echoes of the past lingered, and as they stepped into the light, they knew, sometimes the story is just beginning. Don't miss out on more incredible stories. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive tales that will blow your mind. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and let everyone know you're part of this amazing journey. I want to hear from you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this epic conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this unbelievable ending. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions, so act fast. Your love keeps the stories coming.